Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Tom and welcome back to a brand new video and a brand new series, and this is episode 1 of season 2 of Zero to Hero in F1 2015, but this time we're using the F1 2016 mod, and we've got everything 2016. We've got all the skins, all the drivers, we've even got the calendar made as accurate as possible to 2016. Obviously there's no German Grand Prix or Baku, but other than that it's all 2016, and also I'll be driving as myself in the Ferrari. So essentially Kimi Raikkonen has retired at the end of 2015 and season 1, and I'm driving as myself now, running my own custom helmet and number 23 on the Ferrari, which is the car I'm going to be running for this season. Now, Zero to Hero, if you haven't watched this series before, essentially Zero to Hero says in the name, we're going to be starting from the back every single race, and also we're going to be starting off with a default setup, and at the end of each race, depending on the result that we get to make upgrades or downgrades by spinning a wheel which has different parts of the setup on there, which we can unlock, and that will allow us to modify for the next race. So let's say, for example, today we finished in 3rd place at Australia, we would get 1 spin of the wheel, which would mean that let's say if the wheel landed on rear wing, for example, we could then edit the rear wing value for the next race, which would be in Bahrain. So hopefully you guys understand that. If not, then I do recommend you go watch series 1 and the introduction video, which goes way more in depth than this one, because I've sort of already done this, so I don't want to do it twice. But also, little side note, I'm running the strict corner cutting setting, so that's going to make things very tasty, and pretty much I can't really cut any corners, so you have to keep an eye out for that one. But here we are, we're going to get up for the race now at Australia, and fingers crossed we can get a season off to a great start. And I believe we won the championship in season 1, so we're going to want to continue that form this time in the Ferrari as we get up to the 5 red lights, starting on the prime tyres here at Australia, and we are off here getting a shocking start, actually a really terrible start. And a little side note before we really start to get into the race, guys, the AI and this mod are very, very fast. I've got to say, they are way faster than I expected, and especially because I'm running a default setup, this is so much harder than I initially intended it to be. So this is going to be a very interesting race, and I'm looking forward to it as we now make our way into turn number 3 up the inside of both Manners and both McLaren Hondas here up in the P16, and Alonso's actually going to come back at me here up the inside of turn 4, but I'm just going to hang it around the outside there. And these prime tyres are actually pretty horrible at the start, so I just need to get past this initial phase where they're just slow. I hope that everybody else's softs go off, and then I'll be a little bit more competitive up the sharp end of the field. And meanwhile, Hulkenberg going around the outside of Marcus Ericsson there, beautiful move from him, and we're going to try and capitalise on that by going around the outside of Ericsson, also ourselves here into the braking zone of turn number 8. Can we go around the outside of the Swedish driver? Yes we can, and there looks like there's been contact there, yellow flag. I think we've had a little bit of a crash there with Marcus Ericsson, and we're going to actually look at a replay of that quickly to see what happened to him here. And as you can see, he's on the inside here, and he just sticks up the inside onto the curb, and he just hits me there, sidepod glitches, and there wasn't even contact, I don't think. I think there's a bit of a lag bubble of sorts, and he just went round, so very unfortunate there for him in the Sauber. But lucky enough, I came away unscathed, got no penalty for it, so that is good news for us, and we are well on a charge at the moment now on lap number 2, exceeding track limits there because of the strict corner cutting setting which I mentioned before. But here we go then, we're going to try and make a move on Nico Hulkenberg up the inside this time, the opposite of what we did to Marcus Ericsson this time up the inside, and it's an easy move there up the inside for P15 there, so lovely stuff from us. And skipping later on to the end of lap 3, onto the start of lap number 4, Hulkenberg has actually stayed with us here, and the rest of the pack are pulling away a little bit here, and Hulkenberg's actually sizing me up for a move with the DRS wide open. Here he goes around the outside, and it's an easy move for him around the outside, but I'm just going to stick with him and hope that I can pick out some slipstream here on the back straight. Even though it is double DRS for him, I feel like this Ferrari's got enough power in it to really stick with him. And did we do as we now go up the inside of turn number 3 here, just having a look up the inside of the German. Can we make it stick? Yes we do. Give him a little squeeze on the exit, and that is the move done and dusted. And skipping later on, as you can see, we are on the back of Kevin Magnussen, the Renault driver, and we got the inside of him and Sergio Perez up the inside of turn number 6 there, double overtake up the inside. And as you can see, Magnussen there, part of the 2016 mod, which I was on about in the Renault, and we've overtaken both cars, and we're now on the back of Carlos Sainz here. Can we possibly size him up for a move here up the inside of turn number 13, I believe it is? And yes we do, lovely move there up the inside of Sainz, and we are really starting to pick through this train and make our way through, because we struggled a little bit on pace at the start, but like I said, once these guys' soft tyres start to wear out, and mediums are just going to come into the zone and hit the sweet spot. So that is the plan for this race, and as you can see, we're now looking all dangerous all over the back of the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, I believe, and going on to the start of lap number 6. Can we possibly make a move here on the young 18-year-old Dutch driver who races for Red Bull in this mod? And yes we do. Here we go, we've got a nice little run here on Max, and we're literally sitting on his gearbox, and we're going to try and wait for the DRS to come available to us. He's got DRS as well. We're just going to pull to the inside. Straight line speed isn't great because it's the default setup, so we're going to have to make the move on the brakes, and did we do so, and up into the points for P10. And later on that lap we are on the back of Danny Kvyat, and he He's obviously Carlos Sainz's teammate now in Toro Rosso, and we're going to just go for the move up the inside here of this right-hander once again. Lovely move there on the Russian. Kvyat gives us the room, and we're up in the P9 and skipping later on to the end of that lap. So 3 moves in 1 lap, and Jolyon Palmer actually pits now for the first time in this race, whereas Felipe Nasr stays out, and this could be a chance for us to overtake Nasr and really get into some clear air and put some decent lap times as we set a personal best, speak of the devil. And we're going to go up the inside now off the Brazilian up turn 1. Easy move. Nasr gives us the room, and we're up in the P6 now. So now it's a case of trying to find the pace and push as hard as we can. And as you can see on that lap 7 onto the start of lap 8, we've got the top guys now also pitting for their first stop of the race, which is going to promote us up into P2, but we're still setting personal best lap times there. So good pace from us on the medium tyre. And now on the end of lap number 10, we're coming in for our first stop of the race, and we've got Fernando Alonso here. Goes slowly ahead of us, and I believe he's got a front right puncture. This is why his car is like leaning very awkwardly, and we're going to come in for our first stop of the race, go onto the soft tyres. And I can tell you at this point, the engineer told me that rain was on the way, so the way I'm going to do this sort of stint is I'm just going to stay out on the soft tyre. No matter how worn the tyre gets, I'm just going to hang it out on this tyre and hope for the best. So it's a matter of waiting. I'm going to try and drive nice and smoothly and hope that my tyres hold on. Meanwhile, we're going to rejoin just behind Jolyon Palmer there, so we've actually overtaken Nasr for a net P8, I believe. So we've only got Jolyon Palmer to overtake, who we will overtake now briefly on lap 11 on the faster tyres, and that should do the move for now as we go up the inside here off the right hander, and we're now up in the P7. So literally the cars we've got ahead of us are the top guys, so both Red Bulls, both Williamses, Ferrari, and both Mercedes, I believe. So those are the guys we're going to be looking to beat now. And on lap 14 onto the start of lap 15, as you can see, we've got cars in the pit lane for their second stop of the race, whereas we've still got a couple of laps left to go on this stint, especially if the rain's coming. We're just going to be hanging out on this tyre. And speaking of the rain, as you can see on lap 19, the rain actually started to come down, and I did have to race lead, but I decided to come in, and stupidly enough, I think the AR decided to stay out for at least one more lap, and I felt personally the rain was quite heavy. Now obviously I wasn't very worn tyres, so this might have obviously just made my judgment a little bit different to the AI, but I personally felt that it was very slippery out there. My worn tyres weren't helping, obviously, so I was going to go into a set of intermediates and hope this will be the best strategy for us, especially because with a default setup, if we can get upgrades straight away in this first race, that sets us absolutely in great shape for the rest of the season. So that'd be crucial for us to get these upgrades straight off the bat here. And now on lap 21, a couple of laps later, actually 2 laps later, we've got the AI finally in the pit lane, and there's Rosberg right ahead of us. So Rosberg's actually managed to get the overcut on us, so to speak, and overtake us there. So it was probably the right decision to stay out on the dry tyres for one more lap, but my tyres were just gone. And as you can see, Rosberg is on the intermediate tyres, but we've got a pretty good run in here. He's on the cold intermediates, mine are nice and warm, up to temperature, so I'm all over the back of the Mercedes driver here. We're going to try and size him up for a move now. Go through the right hander of turn number 7 into turn 8. Could we possibly make the move here up the inside of Rosberg? We're going to try and go nice and late on the brakes and make the move there. Easy stuff into the lead of the race, so fantastic for us so far, and there's about 7 laps to go, so fingers crossed, if we keep this together, we could potentially win this race, which would be absolutely incredible considering we start from the back of the grid. And meanwhile, now very next lap, Rosberg comes back at us around the outside, but there's no way through there. He runs off really deep there into the left hander and actually loses a lot of time getting stuck on the apex. So we actually gain a lot of time with Rosberg, which helps us out a lot because our pace on these inters wasn't particularly great, but because we overtook Rosberg after he did his pit stop, that has been just absolutely crucial basically for us, because it's allowed us to just literally stay ahead of him and park the bus. So now literally a couple laps later, the rain started to get much heavier, and I've made the call. I'm going to roll the dice, go onto the full wets, and hope that this is the better tyre for the time being. And as you can see, running a little bit different camera angle here, just trying to switch it up a little bit, but I'm going to the wets, and fingers crossed this time we don't get the strategy wrong and we do get the undercut on Rosberg like I wanted to do the first time, and this time stay ahead of Rosberg, because I know as these conditions get worse, even though I've got the full setup on, it's not going to suit my car because this car doesn't suit the wet conditions, and Rosberg's probably going to be faster than me, so I've got to keep an eye out for that. And speaking of the rain really was starting to come down now at Albert Park, and the track was starting to get considerably wet. And as you can see now, on to the start of lap 27, the guys who set up for 1 mile lap are pitting, so it's a question of where is Nico Rosberg, and he's right there, a little bit further ahead than last time when we pit, so maybe I've just done the wrong decision again on the strategy. We're going to have a pretty good run though through the first couple of corners, and can we possibly get him on the run down to turn number 3? It's going to be pretty tricky. We're quite far behind. We're going to try and go for the late break, but it's not going to work. We lock up our front tyres, and Rosberg is going to hold on to the race lead, and that was pretty much it, because obviously Rosberg in these wet conditions had much better pace than him. As you can see, he stormed off into the distance, and I'm not going to complain. We're going to come home for a fantastic 18 points second place and 2 upgrades, which is crucial for the next race in Bahrain, which is a bit of a power track, so we really need the car there to really help us out. So crucially, we've got 2 big upgrades for the next race, which is going to come in absolutely handy. And I'm looking at the podium here. I've got to say quickly, I'm going to get around to modifying hopefully the driver suit, so I'll put 23 instead of number 7 on the Kimi's driver suit. That'll be hopefully the plan if I can remember to get around to doing that. But as you can see, I raised a trophy there in happiness. P2 for me this race, 18 points, pretty solid job, and nearly cutting the day was the faster driver. And Vettel crucially got 3rd place, so for the constructors that's a pretty tasty result for us. So I think Ferrari might just take the lead in the constructors, because I believe Hamilton have finished way down the order. So overall, really good race for us, 25 points like I said, and Hamilton finished down in P6. There you go, so pretty disappointing race for him. He won't be happy with that one. And Renault getting points there in P7 with Kevin Magnussen all the way up there in 7th place. So a couple of interesting results there. Daniel Ricciardo in 4th for Red Bull, and Max Verstappen down in 8th with Nico Hulkenberg taking a point there for Force India. But the McLaren's nowhere inside this race, so pretty disappointing race for them. But overall, those were the race results, and obviously the driver standings will look pretty much the same because it is only the first race. So we're going to jump into the constructors, and this is what they look like. And as you can see, Ferrari are actually equal on points with Mercedes in the constructors, so Rosberg's win just about savages, top spot for them, jump with Hamilton's result with Red Bull in 3rd and Williams in 4th, with Renault all up in P5, so good result for them this race. But overall, neck and neck between Ferrari and Mercedes already this early in the season. But looking at the wheel, like I said at the start of the video, because we got 2nd place, that means that we get 2 spins off the wheel, aka 2 upgrades. So we're going to do that now, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get 2 positive upgrades for the next race in Bahrain, which will be crucial for the World Championship and for our season. So let's jump into it now and let's see what we can get. And here we go, then we've got the wheel on screen ready to spin, and we're going to spin it right now, and let's see, fingers crossed we can get a good upgrade, which will be crucial for the next race. And the first spin of the wheel is going to give us the front suspension, which is actually a pretty decent upgrade, so that is going to be one of the things we can modify for the next race. And now we're going to spin the wheel again, and hopefully the second upgrade will hopefully be a pretty good one as well. And it looks like, here we go then, what is it going to be? The wheel's going to come to a stop now, and it's going to be the differential on throttle, so that's a bit of a very meh upgrade, not one that I tend to use that often, so that's not one I'm not particularly fond of. But at least we got front suspension. That upgrade is crucial for us for the next race. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this first episode of season 2 of Zero to Hero, and if you have, then please do smash that like button. There'll probably be like 2 of these a week starting very soon, so hopefully you guys are looking forward to it. And if you're new around here, then please be sure to subscribe to my channel, as I'm very close to 3,500 subscribers, sorry, and I'm pushing for 4,000. And yeah guys, that's about for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next one very soon. Goodbye.